Welcome to Messages from the Universe with Lori Wondra. Lori is an internationally renowned psychic medium, author, and shamanic practitioner, sharing insights from angels, guides, wisdom keepers, and teachers of the universe that help you navigate life's mysteries and transformations.
Hello, I am Lori Wondra, and thank you for listening. This is the podcast for 2025. What's up with the energy for 2025? Well, 2025 is a packed year. It's a number 9 year. 2 plus 2 plus 5 is equal to 9. It's the year of the snake. We have 5 planets that have been in a sign or an area of the astrology that's finally changing signs in 2025. We have 4 supermoons, 4 eclipses, and the lunar nodes are shifting to Virgo and Pisces. So it is going to be a crazy year, a changing year, a challenging year, but also a very refreshing year. So let's start peeling all this back. So first of all, 2025 being a 9 year, let's start there. We're stepping into a year of a lot of global closure and completion. It's a time to reflect on how we want to move forward as a collective. There's a lot on the line. We're either evolved into a new world rooted in compassion and humanity, or we can remain on our current course, which is risking some self-destruction and continuing some practices and processes and even carrying forward some belief systems that are a little bit destructive or if not detrimental to our future. Looking beyond 2025, 2026 is a universal year of the number 1, and that marks a fresh start of a new 9-year cycle. But first we need to clear out what's no longer working, and that's what 2025 is about. The universal year of 9. That has deep cosmic cleanse. In numerology, 9 is a very sacred number. It's the number of compassionate humanitarianism, spiritual ascension, letting go, forgiveness. The 9 invites us to step back from materialism and lead with our hearts. It's about releasing what no longer serves us, embracing flow instead of forcing progress ahead. It's finalizing what's reached its natural end, those things we've been working on for years, then maybe it's time to end. It's about returning to compassion, empathy, spiritual principles, shifting focus from the individual to the collective good, embracing humanitarian values, and heart-centered solutions. It's really surrendering to the flow of the universe. Now, with that, there will be some challenges ahead for this universal 9 year. This may be some trying to push forward some outdated agendas, some reaching for answers and maybe taking more control, some resisting change and clinging to control when we really need to surrender, continuing to uphold destructive policies, values, and structures that simply are outdated, and it's time to retire them. Also, a challenge could be falling into fear-based thinking and divisive ideologies. We'll be faced again with more conspiracy theories. We'll have to decipher and discern what's the truth from things that might be generated through AI and other medias that just simply are not true. It also can be a challenge where we ignore the consequences of acts, sometimes selfish acts or ego-driven decisions. We have to be real. The big question that I would hold for you for 2025 is, what do you need to release in order to make space for positive global change? The goal this year is to let go of what's outdated so we as a collective can move into new transformative phase of our world. This is a year of sorting, organizing, and reevaluating. It's not about launching something brand new just yet. That's more of a 1 year. That's 2026. Instead, we're wrapping up the last 9 years, preparing the soil for what's yet to come. And some of you may feel ready to launch and ready to run ahead, and the energy might not be supportive for you, as this is more of a planning year. Wherever we feel isolated, angry, or defeated, is exactly where we need to focus our collective healing energy. Because the number 9 calls for forgiveness, service, compassion. It's also a time that exposes our deepest wounds, which can either inspire us to heal or push us toward anger and bitterness. It's a time when our collective heart can crack wide open. Will we use this to heal our world, or will we continue on a path of destruction? The 9 is one of the most evolved numbers in numerology, carrying the energy of all other numbers within it. It's often seen as sacred, representing loss, letting go, and deep spiritual rewards. And in a 9 cycle, the focus shifts from personal gain to the well-being of all. It's about aligning with the present, releasing the past, and moving forward with curiosity and an open heart. So this year will challenge us to live by spiritual principles. Spirituality is the recognition that we are all connected by something greater than ourselves. We are all rooted in love and compassion. And the 9 universal year asks us to ground ourselves in these values and build a new world based on connection, not division or polarity. Now, 2025 is also the year of the snake, the wood snake. In Chinese astrology, we're leaving the year of the dragon and moving to the year of the snake. And that begins on January 29th with the new moon in Aquarius. And that brings a message of 12 months of renewal and growth. And snakes remind us to shed our skin and evolve. Now, snake is known for its stealthiness and wisdom. The snake wants you to move with purpose and precision. Relinquish what no longer serves you so you can evolve. The serpentine energy guides us all until February 16th of 2026. So embrace its slow, steady transformation. Change might not happen overnight, and that's okay. The snake is associated with pragmatic Taurus in the Western zodiac, an earth sign known for its grounded, deliberate approach to life. And as you weave through the year of 2025, you can methodically align with your true path. The key lies in trusting the process, trusting the universe, going with the flow and not the force. And while the pace of 2025's year of the snake might feel more subdued, especially compared to 2024, where the year of the dragon was fast and fire and furious and full of twists and turns and force, the year of the snake rewards those who think ahead, stay calm under pressure, strike only when the timing is perfect and necessary. Summon your inner strategist. It's time to play the long game and build something solid from the ground up. Now, many people tell me they're afraid of snakes, but if we think and dive into the wisdom of the snake is about strategy and tactics. A snake will only strike when it feels threatened or when it feels harm it's in its path. And a snake will warn you before it actually strikes. Also, snake uses its tongue to measure the wind and taste its senses around us. So be prepared in 2025 for elevated tastes, for wisdom to come to you in a different form, possibly your intuition or your higher self. It's also about intrigue and mystery and reflection, knowing when to curl up and rest or when to move and move slow with the flow. It's about subtle movements that can bring big results. Snake also is very aware of its environment. It feels the very subtle vibration of the earth, knowing when to shelter, when to return to beneath the earth or beneath something, or when to rise up and move away from something that's vibrating. I believe that in 2025, we'll become even more sensitive to the vibrations that we are experiencing. And 2025 is also known as the year of the wood snake. Wood years are years that end in 4 or 5, and they mark periods of accelerated growth. Picture a sapling, a young tree pushing through the soil and rising up towards the sky to become a huge, full-grown tree. And spring is the season associated with wood, which makes 2025 much like 2024's wood year, a time for renewal, change, and rebirth. The wood element brings a unique influence to the snake's energy. Since wood encourages growth, expansion, and renewal, visualize a vine winding its way up a trellis, gaining strength and beauty with every twist. This is the year to rise strategically rather than rushing to the top. The last time wood snake was here was 1965. Now, if we think back to that time, that was profound culture shifts. During that last year of the wood snake in 1965, the world saw the rise of the counterculture movement, the birth of iconic fashion trends like the miniskirt, and a greater push for civil rights and equality. Now, 60 years later, we might find similar themes echoing back to us with the wood snake year, offering opportunities for transformation and renewal on a global scale. As we usher in the year of the wood snake, remember patience, precision, and strategy will be your greatest allies. Trust in the slow, steady growth that this year promises. Don't rush the process. Tend to be in your own vibration and pay attention to the vibrations that are permeating around you. In true snake fashion, sometimes the best moves are the ones made quietly when others least expect them. I mentioned the lunar nodes also shifting to Virgo and Pisces. The lunar nodes shift to Pisces and Virgo on January 11th of 2025. So expect the ethereal to meet the material as the destiny-directing lunar nodes launch this new 18-month cycle through dreamy Pisces and very practical, analytical Virgo. This spiritual cycle last took place from June 23rd of 2006 to December 18th of 2007. It puts a focus on healing in every way from our energetic and emotional bodies to our physical bodies. Artificial boundaries dissolve under the North Node in Pisces spell, inviting us to discover new dimensions of the human experience. Meanwhile, the South Node in Virgo challenges us to live in greater attunement with Mother Earth. North Node is looking forward, South Node is looking behind. So that North Node will change what we believe or what we see in the world, and the South Node will give us the analytical skills, the thought processes to adhere to whether this change is good for us or not. It also is a time for us to say goodbye to micromanagement. Hello to more mindfulness. It's time to embrace a holistic, heart-centered way of living. Flow versus force. We couldn't talk about 2025 without talking about these planetary shifts. Saturn and Neptune are moving into Aries. Now, Saturn are among the planets that will have these huge pendulum-like shifts. Now, Saturn is very structured, and Saturn will divide the year between spiritual Pisces and aggressive or driven Aries. The ringed planet is a taskmaster that's been sitting in Pisces since March 7th of 2023. And ever since, it's been challenging us to organize the most chaotic, unscripted parts of our lives, like our mental health, our spiritual beliefs, how we express our artistic abilities, artistic expression. While Saturn is a boundary hound, Pisces is a boundary dissolver. This energy has been pushing us to deal with things, emotional things, mental things, physical things. We've not been able to hide from this energy. This has been the energy that's been helping us to change and change our environment around mental processing, how we look at mental health, how we look at belief systems, society norms, and how we take action as a community. This push-pull continues until May 24th of 2025, when Saturn then finally moves from Pisces into Aries, where it will be there until September 1st. We'll feel this energy shift, moving from introspection and internalizing to more outward daring initiative, moving from victimhood to more personally responsible, as Saturn in Aries pushes us to take ownership for our actions and evolve accordingly. We can't hide. We have to move, and Aries will push us into taking action. We haven't experienced this particular cycle for nearly 3 decades, 30 years, as the ringed planet last visited in the Rams section back in 1996 to early October of 1998. Now, Neptune also moves into Aries on March 30th. Neptune leaves its home sign of, again, Pisces for the first time since April of 2011. And it makes a landmark in our lifetime, makes a landmark move into action-oriented Aries. For the past 14 years, Neptune has been on a mindfulness pilgrimage, and that's created this deep dive through the human psyche. This is what's allowed us to explore and expand upon the concepts of self-care, yoga studios, trauma-informed programs, plant medicine ceremonies, sound healing, crystals, light therapy, Reiki, healing touch, and self-care as the world shifted more to embrace all the woo-woo stuff and all the holistic or the alternative medicines. As Neptune moves into Aries from March 30th to October 22nd, the shift may feel jarring. Neptune is compassionate. It's dreamy. It's fluid. It's soft. And Aries, well, Aries is driven, sometimes aggressive, daring, entitled, and strong. So what happens when they meet? We need to look way back to 1862 to 1875 for some of those clues. Historically, Neptune in Aries has coincided with periods of radical spiritual and ideological change. We saw this in the 1860s when causes like abolitionism drove the American Civil War and visionary advances exploded, like the first printing press and the opening of the New York Stock Exchange. There may be a rise of cult-like leads during Neptune in Aries. Martyr movements motivated by lofty ideals could draw zealots who are willing to fight to the death. This is the universe issuing an autocrat alert. And on a personal level, this cycle provides the courage to build your personal dream. Watch out for a veiled thirst for power as you ascend along your path. Although Neptune swings back into Pisces on October 22nd, take notes from March to October as this will be our preview period for a longer 13-year cycle that begins again when Neptune returns to Aries from January 26th of 2026 to March 23rd of 2039. Now, Venus is retrograde in Aries and Pisces, and that starts March 1st of 2025, and the universe will be pushing you to be more realistic about your love goals or your overall relationship patterns. Venus flips into a 6-week retrograde period, which could create a temporary power outage for all romantic things. This cycle happens every 18 months as Venus shifts from being an evening star visible in the sky at dusk to a morning star rising just before dawn. And metaphorically, we have a chance to put old love stories to bed and rewrite fresh chapters or write a new book. And during this tense period, compassion and compromise may totally be missing. To make matters a little bit more complicated, in 2025, Venus is retrograde in Aries from March 1st to March 27th, and then in Pisces from March 27th to April 12th. Now, this could mean that your prince or princess may revert into a frog right before your eyes. Don't slip into denial. See it for what it is. This is where truth really comes into play. This is the universe allowing you to see the truth, those things that are right in front of you. You might be asking the difficult question through this new lens. Is this person the right person for me? And the honesty will need to come from within. Just a little bit on Jupiter, who has been sitting in Gemini, which began May 25th of 2024 and lasts until June 9th of 2025. This energy powers up platonic partnerships and peer relationships with more of an expansive energy and opportunities. This is a great time to mingle and network, but I would suggest taking your time with formalizing any formal agreements until Jupiter turns direct on February 4th. Now, this energy also brings new development opportunities in education, transportation, and media in the first 6 months of 2025. But since Jupiter is in sort of a tough position opposite its home sign of Sagittarius, it might take a while longer to get these innovations motivated or in motion. This is a time to lead with intellectual curiosity. While the cycle lasts all the way through June 9th, consider multiple perspectives rather than rushing to conclusions. And with Jupiter's big talking tendencies and Gemini's double talking tendencies, I would suggest you fact check everything. We're really moving into a time where we're using AI and not quite sure yet how to use it effectively. So this would be a time that we need to fact check anything that might be AI driven that is not of truth. This is a time we have to be aware of deep fakes, artificial communication. So check your facts. But Uranus also helps us because Uranus is going to swing in with some energy that will uplift our intuitive being. On June 9th of 2025, Jupiter heads into Cancer for the first time since 2013, 2014, and it will remain there for a year, where it has the most potent place in the zodiac signs. This energy doesn't feel crazy, but it will push us to expand and increase our capacity for intimacy and emotional intelligence. Jupiter in Cancer cycles can bring developments in social protection and care for children and families, housing, food, security, domestic stability can also be key issues that we're looked at or we are needing to resolve, especially as climate change impacts geographically livable zones. Who are the people in your innermost circle? Whether you're blood-related or chosen family, Jupiter in Cancer can bring a joyful sense of connection. This planet also rules travel. So the second half of 2025 could be an optimal time to visit your ancestral homeland, connect your roots, or just go on a good adventure. And Uranus is also set to make a swing in its energy. The reason I say swing is it does this back and forth energy between Taurus and Gemini. So from July 7th to November 7th of 2025, the planet of progress, which is Uranus, will briefly dip back into Gemini. And that cracks a seal on some new sets of possibilities. So the first half of 2025, Uranus is busy finishing its 7-year-long tour through earthly, sensible Taurus, where it's been revolutionizing finance, agriculture, and labor. And that began since May of 2018. Now, Uranus in Taurus has transformed our material lives, producing a near cashless society, along with fluctuating interest rates, cryptocurrency, and slow adoption to use non-cash apps. In Gemini, the techies planet's focus shifts to the intellectual and interpersonal. Now, historically, Uranus in Gemini has brought metaphoric shifts in communication, technology such as the rise of the telegraph and commercial television during its last tour through Gemini. That was 1941 to 49. And the telescope was also invented during a Uranus transit through Gemini back in 1781. So this is a time I would say get ready for some rapid development and total disruptions to Gemini-ruled industries, which is telecommunications, data security, transportation, education, and media. In a flash, Uranus can break us free from outdated systems and incite us to embrace futuristic technology replacements. Everything from cars we drive to the way we educate our children is up for grabs. What's also helping this energy go forward is Pluto's transition into Aquarius. Will be its first full year in Aquarius, so it's worth looking at as it connects to other planetary influences. Aquarius is about collaboration, innovation, technology, and science, artificial intelligence, chatbots, and communal living. Time to see things like these as possibly a new normal. And Pluto is also about death and new birth. So what things are needing to be put to rest or to be put in the past, and where are we rebirthing? This is also aligned with the number 9 year, this year of the snake, and so much about our transformation. On a personal level, we can expect transformation to occur within our lives, whether it's our work, our homes, our friendships, our communities. Aquarius is a love sign, one that wants peace and unity, and that's what we are going to be striving for, requiring. Those places that we do not feel peaceful, that don't drive that calm and sense of community and love, those are the places that we will work to leave or to remove. If you're hanging with low vibe people or trying to fit into a group where you aren't accepted, get ready for some wake-up calls. For some people, Pluto and Aquarius may call you into a more or deeper level of activism or awaken your leadership within the communities you dwell. If you don't like what's happening, you might be driven to change them. We'll all have to work together in new ways as we go forward. We are all going to feel this in some way or another. A Pluto transit is a huge deal because it doesn't repeat in a zodiac sign during our lifetimes. It has a mysterious effect, and it's the hardest planet to pin down. It's one that I am going to continue to watch through this year. The last big planetary influence that I wanted to touch on for 2025 is Mars begins a retrograde in 2025. Retrograde is in Leo, and then it moves to Cancer. The passionate planet's retrograde begins in Leo on December 6th of 2024 into January 6th of 2025, and then in comfort-loving Cancer for the remainder of its retrograde season, which is February 23rd of 2025. So with Mars retrograde in Leo overlapping the holiday season of 2024, we probably felt a rush or pressure. We maybe have experienced some things in overpriced or spending too much. Maybe we didn't feel like we wanted to be with family or friends. The energy was really, really funky. But as we move into January of 2025, the challenges fall behind us. We now are interested in moving away from that slack or that heavy energy that we are experiencing. You might have experienced some holiday drama with people that you really just didn't want to be around, or maybe you found yourself in the spotlight or part of a spotlight event and you just wanted to leave or remove that. So that's part of the energy that we're leaving now, is really honoring our energy and what makes sense for us. Now, Mars flips into reverse every other year, and when it does, it can turn us into unnecessary daredevils. The reason I bring that up is sometimes Mars is a fiery planet. Sometimes that can force you or push you to make decisions or say things that maybe you might regret a little bit later. So this is not the time to take uncalculated risks. Mars pushes for actions, but during a retrograde, let others make the first move, and certainly think before you act. I think that's good advice anytime, is thinking before you act. But really, as we move into this year of 2025, really focusing on being more heart-centered is going to be super important for all of us. For those of you who like to make New Year's resolutions, I would suggest that you wait a little bit, because with Mars being retrograde as we go into 2025, it's not going to give you the energy or the momentum to move forward. It would be better to wait until Mars completes its retrograde season and we move forward, which is February 23rd. So waiting until the end of February to start your goals, to start your projects. Some might call these your resolutions. If this is the reason you need to take more time to detail your goals, then do that. But if you do this on January 1st every year, don't stop yourself. But I would suggest you be kind to yourself as if things might not go as exactly as you had planned. Reset and reestablish your goals might be what you need as you go into the February time period. Once Mars slips into Cancer on January 6th, it could be hard to tear yourself out of your hibernation station until Mercury resumes direct motion on February 23rd. Many clients have told me they just feel low energy. They feel like they don't want to do anything. They just want to cozy up and sit and watch movies. Certainly cozy up, but try not to isolate. With this energy focused on home and family life, you may need to sort out some post-holiday feelings, set firmer boundaries with your inner circle, and certainly take the time for some self-care. Now in 2025, we have 4 eclipses, 2 solar eclipses, and 2 lunar eclipses. And eclipses tend to reveal hidden transformation that's hiding in the shadows. It helps mark a point of turning. It helps speed along developments. It brings swift and sudden opportunities, and oftentimes brings unexpected results. And they do happen 4 to 6 times a year, so it's not anything new. I always look at the signs that they happen in, and are we at the end of a cycle or a beginning of a cycle? So let's touch base on the first, which we'll experience on March 14th, which is a total lunar eclipse in Virgo, the first Virgo eclipse since 2016. So this total lunar eclipse shines a spotlight on health, routines, and service. It's a powerful moment to reassess how well your daily habits support your overall well-being. Then we follow with a partial solar eclipse in Aries on March 29th, and that solar eclipse marks the conclusion of a series of eclipses that we've been in the Aries-Libra axes that actually began in April of 2023. So that brings closure to themes around self versus others or relationships. It pushes us to take bold, courageous actions towards personal goals, especially those that are aligned with your authentic desires. Then we get a break, and the next set happens September 7th, which is a total lunar eclipse in Pisces. This is more of a dreamy and emotional total lunar eclipse. It brings matters of intuition, spirituality, and creativity to the forefront. Let go of rigid structures and embrace flow and surrender. Here's your cue to release old emotional baggage or patterns that have been holding you back from experiencing peace or connections. And then September 21st, we have a partial solar eclipse in Virgo. This is the second Virgo eclipse of 2025, and this partial solar eclipse on the 29 degrees of Virgo brings a fresh start to how you manage your time, how you manage your resources, your daily responsibilities. Since it's also the second in a pair of very rare Virgo new moons, first being on August 23rd, you could already be well on your way to handling any matters that are on the forefront. And lastly, I want to touch on the supermoons of 2025. March 29th, and also is the partial solar eclipse. We have a new moon in Aries, and this is a time for us to wipe the slates clean. The March 29th Aries supermoon is no ordinary fresh start new moon. It's also a partial solar eclipse that pours rocket fuel into your tanks and charges up any adventures with unexpected momentum. It also comes after the spring equinox. So this is a pretty powerful time to readjust your intents or those things that you focused on now at the beginning of the year. You might be set off into a new direction by the time the end of March comes along. Then April 27th, we have a new moon in Taurus. This is thanks to this April 27th supermoon. This is allowing us to strike a balance between the sensual and the sensibility. If life has felt unstable, this new moon is now your opportunity to reground yourself. It's a lovely Taurus energy that comes to us. And then May 26th, we have a new moon in Gemini, And this supermoon sparks exciting synergies with friends, old and new. These are the communities that we've been looking for, you've been searching for. Cooperative, communicative. These are vibes in the air, so ride the waves of this new moon. We jump ahead to November 5th. We have a full moon in Taurus. Your earth moves under your feet at November 5th. The lunation and grounded Taurus shines a light on your values, security, and everything that you've been building. I feel like as we move towards the end of the year, we're seeing the closure of this 9-year and all the work that you've put in through the whole year. And you start to begin to feel rooted and grounded in all the hard work that you've done. And then we finish the 2025 supermoons with a full moon in Gemini on December 4th. And this is got the moon energy of like articulating your dreams, your desires, your wishes. This is about posting them on social media, singing them to the mountaintops. This is about launching those visions into 2026. I know that this is a lot of information. As we move through the year, I'm going to tackle each of these in a more in-depth, but this gives you a nice overview for the full year of 2025 all in one place. Next week, I will cover each zodiac sign. It's just too much to include in this week's podcast. With this, I wish you a very, very happy new year. Until next time, I'm Lori Wondra of Your Life Core, and thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to Messages from the Universe. For information about Lori Wondra's current events or to schedule a private session, visit her website, yourlifecore.com. You can also subscribe to her monthly newsletter. Lori also shares inspirational and informational messages on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening.